All right, welcome back to the Finley Formation. This is Brandon.
And this is Jared.
All right, so we're without Gage today. He's MIA, so we don't know what happened to him. We're
He's taking my place of not being on the show.
yeah, he'll probably be calling here soon, being like, "When we recording?" But yeah, so we're gonna move on without him though. I got him going up to hunting camp, so we're gonna have some fun doing that. So we're recording pretty early on Tuesday, so it kind of sucks because we recorded early during the week anyway, and then all that breaking news happens when
Right.
like you find out these people are out.
hmm
But it's really gonna suck being earlier, even.
Right. Some of these game predictions might change because, like we were talking before the podcast, how I didn't even know Kyler Murray was out. I mean, it
Mm,
didn't change my pick because they were playing the Colts, but you get that kind of information like
right,
a day or day before the day of the game
right,
of
because
a starting quarterback.
he was a late
Yeah.
scratch,
And I
so
didn't even know he had an injury
right, I didn't, yeah,
designation either. So
yep, yeah, so yeah, it does kind of suck doing that, but we got to get it out before Thursday, but. Yeah, so this week we're going to start off. We had a question on our Podbean, which is awesome. We had it from Kel. He says, have a question for you football experts. I think he's a little smart ass there, but what team do you see winning the AFC West? Is KC going to pull it out, or is Denver or the Chargers going to figure it out and start playing a little more consistently?
Yeah, I like that. That's a really good question because right now you have the Chargers and the Broncos both at 4-2, and then you got the Chiefs at 3-3, and then the Raiders kind of bringing up the rear at 2-4. Oh man, you really can't ever count out Kansas City and the way that they played. Um, was it Sunday night
Yep.
against the Lions? I mean, they looked really good against the Lions. And then of course they're getting Rasheed Rice back, so their passing attack looked really good. Ever since Xavier Worthy has came back into that lineup, and now you're getting your true number one, which is Rasheed Rice, and he's coming back off a suspension, which wasn't an injury because he did all of the training camp stuff with him, and he looked healthy when he did that. So I just expect him to come in and be his old self like he was last year, and he's not like a take the top off type of guy, but he will be able to be like your true number one. And then but I really like how Denver's playing defense. I don't like how they're playing offense.
Right.
Their defense is probably one of the best, if not the best in the league right now. I think they had 9 sacks against
9 sacks.
the
Yep.
Jets. My
Yep.
dark horse defensive player of the year, and Nick Bonito is kind of
Yep.
taking shape a little bit. He's not getting a lot of recognition, which is kind of crazy, but
It is
he
kind of weird.
he's
Yeah.
playing lights out. I think he's leading the NFL in sacks right now.
I think he's got what, 7, 8?
Something like that.
Yeah,
He
he's
was
yeah, 7
leading
or 8.
going into
And he
this week, and then I think he got one or
and he
two
had a couple,
in
yeah.
this game. And then the Chargers just need to stay healthy on their offensive line. Obviously, they're not going to get Slater back this year, but Joe Alt moving to the left side when Slater got hurt in the preseason, those first couple games, he looked pretty dominant, and they actually
Mhm.
looked pretty good with him
Yep.
there. And then when he went down, I think they're just kind of scraping by right now, but it's wide open. But I would never count out Kansas City.
Mhm.
I could see maybe like it really actually coming down to like week 17, week 18 with those three teams. The Raiders, I don't think are
Yeah.
going to make the playoffs, which is
Yeah.
kind of disappointing. I think we kind of had
We thought they were gonna
higher
be better.
higher expectations for them.
Yeah, me and Gage kinda got into it a little bit, sitting there watching football on Sunday about, I said that it was clear the Seahawks knew what they were doing letting Geno go.
hmm
I said, "'Cause right now Sam Darnold's out playing him," and he was like, "No, not with the," you know, Geno Smith had more passing yards by this time last year and all that stuff. I was like, "Dude, like, Sam Darnold's playing great for
hmm
him." They're eons above what I think
Yeah.
most people thought the Seahawks were gonna be. And Geno, like you just said about them, he's not playing well.
Oh,
I mean, I know they don't have a great offensive line, but honestly, when he even has time, he's not making the throws. They don't look good. I think, they look decent against a really bad Titans team, but that was it.
right.
They didn't even look good against them. So I like how when Kel says consistency, I think that's the key.
hmm
I actually think right now the Chiefs in their last couple games look better than both of the other teams.
Yeah,
Spags is back to his old work. I think shutting down Detroit the way they did was impressive as hell.
it
I
was.
think that's Spagnola on that defensive coordinator job. If you guys don't know him, man, that dude, when he's on, he's on. That
hmm
defense is really is still has a lot of good pieces, but really his schemes are what I think has always made that good. So I think it is consistency. Denver's offense terrible. Their defense is really good, and I think you hit it on the head with Chargers. If they were healthy, I'd probably say Chargers.
Right.
But right now, I'm leaning towards the Chiefs winning it,
Hmm.
like being able to take it. They looked really good, and they're the healthiest out of all those
Right.
teams too. So,
I think
although the Broncos, even as good as they are playing defense, they still get help coming back with Greenlaw's coming,
right.
and so they're going to get even better on defense. But unfortunately, they don't get any help on
No.
offense. I honestly think that they could probably still use a number one running back. They still don't have that figured
Right.
out. I don't think Dobbins or RJ Harvey are really getting it done. So,
No, no, I agree. I think that's what they're missing kind of piece is just there's no consistency. There wasn't any consistency at the running back position last year. I think they kind of went through like 3 or 4 running backs
yep.
last year. So I don't know if that's something that they address in the draft next year. I think we kind of had high expectations for RJ Harvey coming in,
Hmm.
but it doesn't even seem like he's getting too many touches.
Right.
Um, yeah, with the Chiefs, I don't know if it was because we kind of talked about it in the offseason was one of their biggest losses was Justin Reed on that back end for Spagnola. I think you kind of saw it those first 2 games when they came out and lost to
Chargers.
Chargers, and then they lost the second game too.
Yeah, another good team.
I can't remember, but their defense just kind of seemed like it was a little bit like a step behind or lost a little bit. But I think you saw that when you lose Justin Reed on that back end. I think he was more of like the chess piece that Spagnuolo liked to move around. He kind of got everybody in the right spots, but now it seems more like after these first 6 weeks that they're kind of figuring it out on that defensive side, which is kind of scary for the
Yeah.
rest of the AFC since it's a little
Yeah.
bit wide open this year.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in saying that I think the Chiefs are going to win it again.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
I
because
know.
I thought this was the
Yeah.
year they were going to get dethroned.
Yep. And like I
But
said, it's big that Rasheed's coming back, like just off of suspension. Like he looked healthy coming off that ACL
mhm,
injury last year in the preseason, so it's not like they have to work him back into the offense. Just working back in the offense from being suspended. He's
right.
going to come in probably in shape. If
Hopefully,
I had to
yeah.
guess.
Unless he was sitting on the couch,
Right.
just hanging out, watching football, and
Right.
Drinking beer and eating Doritos or
I
something.
kind of doubt that one. Andy Reid's your head coach, so
Yeah, I agree. I think he's coming in shape, and
Right.
that's going to bolster them big time. Yeah, no, that's a good question. That was awesome. Send in more questions. I like answering
Mhm.
that stuff. That's fun. Giving my take on that. I know we're not football experts, as Kel was a smart ass saying, but we still like to give our opinions on that and answer some questions. So, I mean, going into this last week, we kind of talked about the Chiefs a little bit. That was a huge game for them. I mean, it just seems like we get these teams that we're dialed in on. We're like, Lions are still really good. The Eagles are good, or they're playing decent. Their offense wasn't, but then they got defense. Well, they didn't look good against the Giants,
Right.
and they still can't get that offense going. I mean, it was that 34-17
Mhm.
against the Giants.
And they didn't even score a second half, any points in the second half either.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I think they kind of their passing stats kind of took off, but still they cannot get that running game going with Saquon like they did last year. It kind of seemed like they could control the game with him just running for 130, 140 yards a game. But
Yep.
when he's only running for 50, 60 yards a game, it's
Yeah, and I don't know. It's weird too because we talked about their offensive line, but they couldn't move.
no.
Like they could not move players against the Giants. I know the Giants kind of keyed in on that, and they were
Mhm.
like, we'll let Hurts beat us. I guess type of philosophy is what it seemed like. But dude, they were not moving bodies like they normally do. It took
Right.
them 4 straight tush pushes to get into the end zone from
Yeah.
like the 2-yard line.
Right.
That's not like them.
No. And then you look at the Giants. The Giants are funny. They're 2-4. Their 2 wins are against the Chargers and the Eagles, and they're coming off a really bad loss last week against the Saints. And sandwiched in between there was that big loss to the Saints. They didn't look good against the Saints at all.
No.
And then they come out and look like they did on national TV on Thursday night, where they're their only game on TV. So people are got their eyeballs on them. And
Yep.
Scattaboo looked really good running the football. I just like how he plays. We talked about it. I don't think he's long for this league, but
Yeah.
while he's playing, man, we better
It's
enjoy
awesome.
it. Yeah, he plays it, I think, the right way with the right, energy, and I don't know, he's just so hard to bring down. And then even Jackson Dart didn't look too bad. I think his dynamic with his legs is what kind of separates him.
Mhm.
Like he's not doing anything really special in the passing game, but just that dynamic he can bring with moving the chains and getting first downs and keeping that offense on the field.
Yeah.
And then when you have a lead with like the Giants do, and they can bring out that pass rush that they have, and some of those pass rushes, I was like, oh my gosh, with
Right.
Thibodeau, and you got Abdul Carter who lines up quite a bit on the inside during pass situations to get Brian Burns, and then you got Dexter Lawrence just gobbling up the middle. It's
Yep.
just like, oh my gosh. So it was cool. It's kind of cool to see this young team, the young players on this Giants team kind of come together,
Hmm.
which is awesome.
Yeah, yeah, they look good, and it was funny because we talked about how Scadabo would get you 4 yards and that's it, but he ripped off some
He
long
did.
runs. I
Yep.
was impressed. He showed more speed than what I seen him have.
Yep.
So yeah, it does. It this week and last week just were tough picks. I know you did really good on your picks, but it seemed like just teams just are coming out of the blue.
Yep.
You don't know what you're going to get. We already talked about the Broncos offense a little bit. That's one note I took down was just wow. They need a spark. They need a
Hmm.
run. They need something there because they barely squeaked by the Jets.
Well, the one thing I took from that game, and I got it, yeah. So they had negative 10 yards like team passing. That's considered all the sacks because
Mm.
Justin Fields only was 9 out of 17 for 45 yards passing, which is horrendous in itself. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, which is bad. But then he took 9 sacks for negative 55 yards, which gives him a team total of negative 10
Negative
passing
10.
yards, which is bonkers. And then for the Broncos to squeak out a I don't know when they kicked that field goal, but they had to kick that field goal in the fourth quarter to win it, which
Right.
is wild,
Yeah.
which kind of tells you all about what their offense is.
Yep.
And we were talking about their running game. They ran the ball 26 times for 78 yards, but Dobbins had 14 carries for 40 yards, and then Bo Nix was your second leading carrier for 5 for 24.
Really.
So it's just,
And that upped their average
yeah,
actually.
it did, which is wild. I don't know if their offense can ever just figure it out. I think they would probably be one of the better teams in the league. It's
Mhm.
just that's what's holding them back.
Oh, totally. Yeah, they're one sided for sure.
Hmm.
And so if your defense is playing that well, that game should have easily, you should win that 20,
Right.
27. They're constantly giving you the ball,
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just not good. I don't like their O line the way they're playing very much. And honestly, Bo Nix really isn't. He's kind of having a slump. Seems
Hmm.
like little sophomore slump. So, um, yeah, another one. I mean, we talked. I think the Bills. We talked about that pre-show. Their O line, I think, is bad. We talked about that. How the Falcons haven't been real good at getting to the passer this year, but they looked good against the Bills
They did, yeah.
last night. Watching that game, and I was like, where the hell did this come from? Because all of a sudden they're playing defense. Their offense was all over, which we kind of figured that one was going to be that way.
Yeah.
The Bills' off defense is, I don't know, they're bottom tier for sure.
Yeah, we talked about it last week about how, leaky their defense is. That was the one thing that kind of gave us caution about the Buffalo Bills. And we mentioned their rush defense last week, how they actually kind of surprised us how well they kind of stopped Stevenson and that rookie running
Henderson.
back Henderson. They actually did a pretty good job. And this week they didn't do a very good job. This kind of looked like Derrick Henry running all over him again with Bijan. And Atlanta just has so many weapons. When you have Bijan going for 170 rushing yards, and then you got Drake London on the other end catching 10 passes for 158, it's just like,
Right.
man, they're just
Yeah.
kind of just
And
embarrassment of riches. Yeah,
Algiers ripped off their first touchdown for 20-some
Yep.
yards.
yeah. And it was kind of surprising when I was looking kind of at Falcons stats because I haven't watched the Falcons yet this year, but they do have the number one pass defense.
Oh, do they?
They're only averaging allowing 160 yards per game passing, which was surprising to me.
Yeah.
Which kudos to them.
Heck yeah. I didn't realize it was that good. I know, like you, I haven't been watching a lot of them,
Mhm.
but it didn't seem like they were getting to the quarterback a lot, so they just must be able to blink it.
They
pretty good
must
there.
be, yeah.
So that's good. Yeah, it did look like, it did look like Josh Allen didn't have anywhere to go with the ball several
Right.
times. And, he didn't seem like he played up to his normal, like, just if there's nothing there, go.
Right.
Like, he didn't have that. It was like, I like how you extend plays, that's fine. But sometimes he just needs that killer instinct just to get down the field.
Right.
And that's what makes him so good. And without that, teams are able to blanket your receivers and do what they were doing. He needed to make them pay for not spying him and bringing extra guys. But,
Right.
so on that, but I honestly think this was a Falcons win, not necessarily a Bills loss, if that makes sense. I think the Falcons just took it to them. But still, they left a lot out there. I think the Bills, they're not. I don't know. At one point, it just seemed like they were the favorites to kind of do it, like we
Yeah.
talked last week, and now again, it's like they drop another one.
Yeah, I think a couple weeks ago we mentioned how Baltimore's kind of down this year. Kansas City was down at that point, and they had a losing record, and it was just like, I guess this is like the Bills' year to kind of
Mhm.
take the AFC by the horns, and now
Yeah.
Now they're fighting, like we mentioned last week about the Patriots, getting that big win against them in the division. Now they're both tied atop of the division, so technically
Yep.
that gives the Patriots the
Yeah.
number one seed in the AFC East, which is
Right.
big for them.
Like
So,
2 weeks changed
hmm
a whole lot. I mean, early in the season that makes sense, but it is crazy. And we'll talk about our Niners. That's fine. I mean, the Bucks. They were able just to do what they wanted on
yeah,
offense. It seemed like especially once Fred Warner went down,
yeah,
that was bad. That dude, you could see he means so much to his team. If there's a defensive MVP, it's him
hmm
because he means so much to that Niners defense, especially over the last 2 seasons where their defense hasn't played that great anyway.
right.
And so I mean, but when he's not there, he's not healthy and playing hurt, it's totally different.
It
And
is.
then we lost Bosa already, and then that interior O line for
hmm
our like we talked about. I think you said Pooney has a terrible rating.
Yeah. Cooney, and then you got I can't remember, did is Barch still out?
I
So
think
Barch
so.
was projected to be the starting left guard this season,
Yeah.
but I don't know how much he's played, and it just shows they still cannot run the ball. I talked about it last week with the Dolphins. Usually, if you can't run the ball, there's no like magic solution. Like especially if you're not going to get better on the offensive
hmm
line, to figuring it out. They grind it out with Christian McCaffrey, and we talked about last week how important he is to this offense. I think he makes this offense kind of go, but they still they just cannot run the ball. And then, like you said, on the back end, Tampa Bay was hurt with I mean, Emeka Buka had a hamstring injury, I think, pretty early in
Yeah,
that
like
game.
yeah,
Like,
second quarter.
no Godwin, no Evans, and so you got Cameron Johnson catching the ball, Sterling Shepard, Kate Ott, and Tez Johnson kind of burning the back end of that defense. There was
Mhm.
quite a few passes that you turned around and only Tampa Bay wide receiver is in the picture. It was just like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
terrible.
I think they're in trouble. We talked about this before the podcast, but they're almost going to have to be in the same situation that Detroit was in last year. I think
Mhm.
that they're just going to have to grind out wins on offense and score a whole bunch of points and kind of hope your defense
Yeah.
gets a turnover here and there.
Yep, that's
Hey,
the only place they're going to get healthier on because
yep,
everybody else is like IR,
right.
for the season-ending injuries on defense.
Yeah,
So, I honestly, again, this was the Buccaneers just taking it to that Niners defense. Baker, in my opinion, especially with what we've seen from Josh last night,
hmm
is the clear favorite for MVP.
I
In my
agree.
opinion, right now, if the season ended, I vote Baker,
Yeah,
and that is not something I thought I'd be
no,
saying.
no. I
So,
wonder what his odds were before the season started. I wonder
yeah,
if you can look that up. I bet you they were pretty good odds if you put some money down on that.
yeah, maybe we'll try to get that up for the next show because that
Right.
would be. Yeah, I mean, the dude is he's killing it, man.
hmm
And that BS run that he had on 4th and 13, come on, man. Our 3rd and 13,
yeah,
whatever. That was stupid. That was bad. He's just so feisty,
he is.
and he's arrogant. Yes, he's all that. But, it's amazing what happens when you add a little maturity to
Right.
some of that, and man,
Yeah.
that run, the three guys had him.
I think that's what you kind of want from your quarterback, though, is to kind of have that cocky
Hmm.
arrogance about him. Yeah, I like it. I think it's kind of, I mean, it sucks he did it against the Niners, but he did it last year. I don't know if you remember when Nick Bosa went to go sack him and he was kind of just stiff
Yeah,
arming him the whole time, and Bosa was trying to hold on and he
yeah.
still
Just
completed the
just
pass.
kind of fending him off a
It's like,
little bit.
holy
Yeah.
cow, man. Any other quarterback seems like they probably would have went down.
Right, going like they went 10 yards to the sideline doing
Right.
that, and he
Yep.
just kept pushing them and holding them back, stiff arming them.
Yep.
Yeah, he is. He's feisty as hell. He's playing great. His
hmm
arm is incredible, man. He's come so far from what we'd seen him do,
Right.
and the Buccaneers just is like where he landed there is just incredible. It just works to what he wants to do.
hmm
Yeah, the Niners just not good. Not too many injuries. It's gonna be rough to try to finish it out. Another note I took down was the Steelers D. They're finally starting to step
Yeah.
up, playing good. I think it sucked for me because I had Judkins on
So
my
did I.
team,
Yeah.
and they just stuffed his ass. And I looked at it too, and it was like I think he only averaged like 2 point something yards a
hmm
carry. I don't remember if that's necessarily it or not, but I mean, once they stuffed him and he wasn't, they pretty much called it after that. They were like, "Well, we got to pass now,"
Right.
because they got down. So
Yeah, I remember a couple weeks ago because I think they had a bye week last week. The Steelers did, but the week before when they were playing Minnesota and London, I mean, we were kind of texting back and forth about how good both of those teams are just so like hot and cold. And then I was just like, man, it seems like this the Steelers defense because they played so
Yep.
well for like the first 3 quarters of that game, and then Minnesota just kind of poured it on there towards the end. They ended up squeaking out a victory. The Steelers
Yep.
did, but yeah, I think that bye week kind of came at a good time for the Steelers team, especially with having Aaron Rodgers on that team. They just look, I don't know, they look like a functioning football team on offense again
Mm-hmm.
with an actual quarterback that's
Yep.
getting the ball in the right spots and defenses come together. So I don't know if this is kind of a hot take or not, but maybe the Steelers just probably already clinched that division with the way how everything else is going. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
you might be right.
The Ravens lost again. Obviously, the Steelers beat the Browns, who are 1-5, and then the Cincinnati Bengals lost to the Packers, who are 2-4. So
Mm-hmm.
they already got a 2.5, 3 game lead in that division
Right.
in 6 weeks into the season.
Yeah, and there's no heroes coming to save
No,
the Bengals.
no, there's not.
I don't think Flacco's going to be the answer. I think they did kind of look better at times,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think he's going to be the answer there.
No,
And then with the Browns, I think their defense is incredible, but they don't have an offense.
right.
And if they get that going, maybe. But like I said, there's no heroes coming. The only one that could still maybe, I guess, give them a run for it is the Ravens.
I think so, yeah.
And that's if Lamar comes back and they're able to get that offense going and fix some stuff on defense.
Right.
And even that's a long shot.
It is, yeah.
So,
Especially being in a 1-5 hole already.
yep.
Through 6 weeks, it's going to be tough sledding. I can see that if it's one team, I can see the Ravens kind of pulling it together.
Mm-hmm. And
but
despite
yeah,
what Gage says about their coaching, I like John Harbaugh. I think he could pull it together.
I do too.
So I don't know what his issue with John Harbaugh. I'm like, dude, all he's done is win there.
I like
man.
Mike Tomlin too. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if he just does a thing for those AFC North coaches for some reason.
Yeah, all they do is win. He's just like, it's stupid. They just get to the playoffs every year. That's bad. Yeah, giving him some shit. I think like we mentioned the Chargers a little bit too, and I think they're reeling. They barely got that win against a really bad Dolphins team, and man, they just like you said, they got injured, and it's like whoa, they lost their O-line, and then what was I going to say? All their defense didn't look great. Oh, they lost their running game too. So once they lost that running game, they're down to their 4th-string running back in this game. I think they had to bring in a guy off the street even because they had that Kamini Vidal, and then that Hairston. Does that sound right?
Haskins.
Yep. And I mean, Vidal played good. Vidali, or however you pronounce the name, he played really good. They had running game, but they're playing the Dolphins. Everybody's able to run on the Dolphins,
right.
So, but they were just barely squeaking out that win, and that's what we're talking about. I don't think that they're going to be able to do anything in the AFC West. I think they're actually down there with the Raiders right now, as far not quite Raiders level, but man, the way they're playing, they barely squeaked that out against the Dolphins. And the Dolphins have looked good at times, and Tua looks good once in a while, but you should be able to go in there and beat up on that Dolphins team.
Right. Yeah, the Dolphins kind of figured it out on the running game this week, but still, we talked about how bad their run defense is, and Kamani Vidal runs for 124 yards, and they, as a team, they ran for 140 yards on 25 carries. Like you said, you're going against probably your 3rd and 4th string running backs. That if you're kind of allowing that, and then Herbert actually played really well too. So the points are there on offense. It's just, which was kind of surprising how their defense kind of played against the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins, we've kind of talked about how they're able to put up points when they can, but Tua just kind of seems like whenever they're in a close game where they need something, Tua kind of makes a silly mistake and throws an interception. He had three in this game in a tight game, and he did it against the Bills when it was a tight game. That game and going in the 4th quarter, and he throws a silly interception in the 4th quarter that doomed him. So I don't know. I'm still pretty passionate about Mike McDaniel's no longer the first head coach being fired, which kind of ruined my hot take last week. But I don't think he's long for this season. Yeah, to be honest with you.
Was their head coach fired already?
Titans was.
Did they get rid of him?
Yeah, they got rid of Callahan.
Oh, I didn't see that. Did that happen today?
Yesterday, I believe. Yep.
Oh, wow. I missed that one.
So my Mike McDaniel being the first head coach being fired didn't happen. Well, but I still think he will be one of the coaches being fired.
I think, and he should have been. He should have went before that coach. That coach just got there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not good,
right?
But you're going with a rookie quarterback and everything in Tennessee. That dude needed more time,
right?
Mike McDaniel's had plenty of time. He's
Yeah.
had plenty of time, and it hasn't been good.
It was kind of surprising when it kind of came out because I don't even think I even thought Callahan was going to be on the hot seat. I mean, yeah, obviously you don't want to start the season like you have with being the first overall pick last year too, but
Yeah.
first time head coach. I don't know what they're thinking. You're not going to get, I don't think anybody better in there because you can't bring anybody in. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. It's weird.
What were they? I don't know what they're thinking there either.
I'm
That's
not
weird.
sure.
I didn't hear that. That's breaking news to me. So, yeah, I know I have just a couple more notes before we go on to our picks and everything. But like, what do you think about Drake May? I think he should be in MVP contention. Obviously, not up there with Baker, but as far as other quarterbacks and the way they're playing this
hmm
year compared to him, he's
I like him. I know coming into this season I wasn't too high on the Patriots. I liked all the moves that they made, but my thing was just like the team that won free agency never wins,
mhm,
or does well that following season. But Drake May, he had flashes of it last year, and then I remember talking about it in the offseason. It was just like he just didn't have anybody to throw to, and I think the Patriots did it right by bringing in the head coach, what's Vrabel, and then
Vrabel.
Vrabel brought in Josh McDaniels to be the offensive coordinator, and we've discussed it before about how we really like Josh McDaniels as a play caller, just not as a head coach.
Right.
I think he's got a proven record, so I think
hmm
that's helped him out tremendously. Um, I just like how he's playing. He's still like spreading the ball around. You look at who the leading receivers were this last game. It was that Butte, and then Demario Douglas, and then Matt Collins. Then you finally get down to Stephon Diggs. So he just seems like he's more mature this
hmm
year. He's got a really good offense, or not really good, but he's got a better offensive line around him. He only took one sack for -1 yard this game, so they're keeping him upright. Um, I know going into the draft last year, I got a buddy who's a Chicago Bears fan, and I was giving him crap. I was like, dude, I like Drake May. I think Drake May should be the number one overall pick. But
hmm
it's kind of
Yep.
surprising now because you get Caleb Williams, who I think is playing really well.
hmm
You got Josh McDaniels, who played really well last year, and I think he's playing really well this
Oh,
year.
Jaden.
Jaden Daniels, yeah,
Jaden
and
Daniels.
then
Yeah.
Drake May. I mean, what a class, man! Holy
Yeah.
cow!
Yeah. It's looking good too. Even though Jaden didn't look 100% last week,
hmm
but or last night, sorry. But still, I mean, they're
Right.
they are hell of a class. Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said, and it's crazy that they're having the success that they are with that sophomore quarterback in New England,
Right.
even though they can't run the ball.
Yeah.
They're not able to run the ball well. That's one thing that I thought was funny because I really thought Travion Henderson was the way better back than Judkins,
hmm
but so when they come out and the Browns drafted Judkins
Right.
before him, I was like, what? No way. But actually, I think the Browns might have been onto something because
I
I
think
don't
so.
know. So far, Travion isn't. I mean, he's dynamic
Right.
I think he's got more for the passing game than what Judkins has. But yeah, he's not a between the tackles type of runner,
No.
not yet anyway. And so,
Well, the Browns are the funny organization because they can't figure out a quarterback, but they, for some reason, can figure out running backs because they had Nick Chubb before who couldn't stay healthy. But
yeah.
when he was healthy, he was one of the best running
Oh, a
backs in the
beast.
league. And now Junkins kind of seems like he's going to be the next good running back in Cleveland.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree. And if I think that Ramondre Stevenson, I don't think he'll be on the Patriots next
hmm
season. I don't think they're going to want to pay him.
Right.
And so I think they're probably going to be they should be drafting running backs or
hmm
trying to find the next guy. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, I had, a couple of notes, but yeah, I still think going off of last night, I still think Caleb's going to get his 4,000. I
Yeah.
think we were doing the math, me and Gage were. I think he's like right on par for it.
Is he?
Like he's just a bit under
Yeah.
that. He's averaging like 231, 240, something like that, and that's about where you need to be. So, but I think a couple of big games from him, and he's going to get it. But we'll see, man. If he doesn't, I don't know if they're ever going to have one.
Right.
But of course, it's only his second year.
It is. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go into our underreaction, overreaction.
My underreaction for this week, and let me bring it up real quick. It was Aaron Rodgers. I don't know how we felt. I can't remember. I don't think I was too high on Aaron Rodgers going to the Steelers. It was kind of like, man, I don't know just how his tenure and the Jets, or even how it ended in Green Bay that last season, and then the 2 years that he spent with the Jets. I know that 1 year he tore his Achilles right off the bat, but he didn't play bad, but it just felt like I don't know, he brought everybody down around him. He just wasn't a good vibe for everybody. And then
Yeah.
going into the Steelers year, it dragged on pretty much all of off season, and then going into the preseason, it was just like, man, what are the Steelers doing? Like,
Right.
why would you spend all off season just kind of waiting around for this guy? And it's just like, I actually got to watch the Minnesota game when they were in London, and it's just Aaron Rodgers is like the perfect quarterback to kind of shred that defense, just because he's seen everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, what's that Minnesota defensive coordinator's name? Brian Flores.
Yeah,
I
Flores.
mean, he
Yep.
brings a whole bunch of funky stuff, and I think he can kind of get younger quarterbacks kind of confused. But Aaron Rodgers just seemed like he was in total control. He knew where the blitzes were coming from. He was throwing hot all game, and it was just pick and catch back there when he was kind of throwing the football. But I was kind of looking it up. He's on pace this year for to complete 68.8% of his passes. He's on pace for 3,500 passing yards and 34 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. So
Wow.
what is he, 40, 41 years old?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm able to kind of tell you when I was wrong about this, and I think Aaron Rodgers is probably going to lead the Steelers maybe to an even playoff victory.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, how well he's playing, as long as he can kind of stay healthy. I think
Yeah.
he was actually the right choice probably for the Steelers offense.
Right. And his numbers are pretty much akin to what it was last year. Like I think he had 3,500, at least yards wise.
Right.
I don't think he had that many touchdowns if it ends up like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the difference is it does kind of seem like so far that his demeanor, everything seems to be a little different, which is
Right.
one thing we did mention when we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
having Tomlin as your coach as well. Because I think it is different when you have like the coach with a successful record, somebody who's done this for what has he been there for 16 years,
Yeah, I
17
think so,
years,
something like
something
that.
like that, and he's tenured. Whereas where with Sala, who had a losing record, hadn't had much success yet, only on his third season, I think. With
Mm-hmm.
by the time Aaron Rodgers got there, and they did that last year, so I think that helps. Obviously, I think just the organization with the Steelers is 10 times better
Right.
than what the Jets are. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a really good underreaction because I didn't realize his numbers were that good. Even though, yeah, it might be time to be like, hey, we might have been wrong about his time there. Now it's still early. He still has time to implode.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I like that one. Mine, we already talked about. I think it's the Broncos offense.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people are talking about how inept it really is. And we went over all that. They're not able to run the ball. Their passing isn't great.
Mm-hmm.
It's just dead all over. They need to do something big, and it's kind of crazy with Sean Payton as their coach too, because
Right.
he had what a season with, I know it was Drew Brees, but they went what 4 or 5 seasons with having 4,000 yards
Oh, I
every
did.
year or something like that.
5,000. I think he reached 5,000 a couple of
Of
times in
those,
that. Yeah.
yeah, but I think the record was they were over 4,000
Mm-hmm.
for that consecutive
Oh,
seasons,
yeah. Yeah.
and now he has this going on there. They're not able to run the ball because they were able to run the ball really well too, which people don't remember that well with the
Mm-hmm.
Saints as well. They were able to run the ball pretty well too. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. They need to do something. We talked about it. Their offensive line isn't great, isn't running or isn't playing great, getting that run game going, and they need some running backs. So
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of confusing because going into the season, it was kind of like, okay, year two, they didn't really do anything. That's the same people. So Bo Nick should be pretty comfortable. He's got this, Sean Payton as a head coach. He's bringing back, Cortland Sutton, and then he's got those other receivers that were there last year.
yeah.
The only thing that's really changed, like you said, is kind of the running backs. But even like you mentioned, they didn't run the ball well last year either, which is kind of surprising when, in all reality, you look at their offensive line, I think they had the best like passing offensive line as far as like allowing throwing next time to throw and sacks given up and pressures given up last
Right.
year. So looks like they're kind of continuing that on this year, which I don't know. It's for some reason it must not translate to run offense. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I
Yeah,
like their offensive line though, so you're kind of hoping. I don't know. Maybe at some point this season it kind of just starts to take off, but we're already a third into the season after week 6 because there's only 18 weeks. But it kind of seems like it's more of the
yep.
same with the Broncos. You look at how they finished the season in the playoffs last year against Buffalo. They just, as much as
Yeah.
you like the defense, you need more offense in the playoffs to actually kind of continue on. So
Heck yeah. Yep. Okay. Overreaction.
Overreaction is like, I don't know. Is it are we at a point now where like the Colts are going to be the number one seed going into the playoffs? Like they just keep on winning, and it doesn't seem like, I know it's more of an underreaction. Like people aren't, doesn't seem like they're getting talked about too much, but
Hmm.
they're 5-1 and they're rolling on offense. Like
Right.
the one thing that they kind of give up some points on defense, but they're, I don't see anybody really stopping this offense. Daniel Jones is playing great. Um, Jonathan Taylor's running for 120 yards, it seems like every single game, and they just got weapons on offense. It's just like, is it an overreaction to think the Colts like are in the driver's seat for the number
Yeah.
one seed, which is mind blowing. I think I had them finishing last in the
Yeah.
AFC South. Yeah, AFC South in my
Hmm.
preseason rankings.
Yeah. I think I had him just above the Titans,
No, okay, yeah,
but
maybe
I
I did
mean,
too.
yeah, I had this is in mind blowing completely. I think that the more you keep going in a season, you at first you're like, all right, it's a fluke.
Hmm.
They're just, teams just haven't adjusted to them yet or whatever, man. But they're getting wins every way now. They're getting them in the end of games where they're grinding it out. Defense does have, when they need to make a play, they do.
Right.
And Daniel Jones, I mean, I think what he ran for one touchdown, threw for two,
Hmm.
I think is what it was. So, I mean, that dude, yeah, man, maybe this is exactly what he needed
Right.
was just this. And even if it is only for 1 year, let's say that this is just a 1 year for
Hmm.
him, grind it out for 1 year, and then he goes back to the old Daniel Jones. It's still really impressive. And I do think right now they're the favorites to win that
Yeah.
AFC South and probably do a little damage in the
Right.
playoffs.
They're
So,
built the right way with offense. It seems like they can run the ball whenever they want at will, and then Daniel Jones can throw the ball whenever, the run game's not going. So it's just like the perfect poison to have going into a playoffs. And if your defense can kind of get a few stops, I still like their defense. I like, um, oh, who's there? It's not Eberflus. Is it Eberflus? Is he their
D
defensive?
coordinator,
I
I'm not
think
sure.
so. I might, but anyway, I like the Colts are where they're sitting at. You told me before the season, a third away into the halfway through the, or I'm sorry, a third of the way through the season, if the Colts were going to be 5-1, sitting in the driver's seat for the number one seed, I would have been like, no way,
Right.
well, no way,
Yeah.
get out of here.
Yeah.
I would have
Absolutely.
believed you more if you would have said the Colts were going to be 1-5 rather
Yeah.
than 5-1.
Yeah, if you were like they'll be last in the AFC and,
Right.
and Tennessee will be above them, I would have
Yep.
believed that more. I totally agree with that. My overreaction, and we talked about him. I do think the guy's a good running back, but I don't think he's a great running back like he's looked the last 2 weeks. It is Rico Dowdle.
Hmm.
People are talking big about him. They're talking like, man, this dude is just a beast and he's tearing it up. Yeah, he is. But let's look, stop and think about it. He went against the Dolphins, who are giving up 200 yards to anybody who, can even just carry a football, basically. And the Cowboys, which are
Hmm.
just terrible. Those running lanes, if you look at some of those stills that I've seen in pictures of the lanes that he had to run against those Cowboys, was, dude, me and you could have got some yards on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely. Me, I probably would have,
Gage.
trucked.
Gage
Yeah.
is the ultimate. I could have got yards. So I think
Yeah.
Gage probably could have got 100 yards against the
Yeah.
Cowboys defense.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, even Mac Jones, who looked like the Tin Man when he tried to run yesterday, this weekend, he could have got some yards there. It's just, dude, yeah, I think he is fast. He is. He's got speed, but there's a reason why he's bounced around a little bit, and
Hmm.
it's because he's just not really that consistent. I think that Panthers are getting going. They're able to run the ball, and I think that's more of a team thing, even
Yeah.
than it is just Rico Dowdle. I don't think that he's like, I don't think he's going to finish the season as the leading rusher or anything just because
Right.
they got him going. So yeah, it's my overreaction. I've just seen a lot of stuff about him. Seen a
Yeah.
lot of people talking about how good he is. Yeah, he's good. I'll give it to him. You have to still run the ball. You still have to do it. But
It was like a perfect scenario. I know Chuba
yeah,
Hubbard's probably pissed off that he got hurt when he did, because like,
yeah,
gosh dang,
yep.
this was my opportunity to get some rushing
Heck
stats
yeah,
against these two
yeah.
teams.
His bonuses are down
Yeah.
now.
I like that. I really like that.
So all right, so we're going. Oh yeah, did you do your
Hmm.
overreaction? Okay.
Yeah, it was the Colts being
Oh, that's right. That's right.
the
Okay,
number one
so
seed.
we'll go into our picks, and first when we get here, we're going to do the listener picks, and we got Aaron who won it. Aaron Jelinas won our listener picks, our pick'ems. He lost 4, and he ended up beating Jared in the tiebreak because it was
Man,
the final score was 49,
49.
and he picked 48, so he about nailed it,
Yeah,
almost
he
right
did.
on
Yeah,
it. So good
good on him.
job, Aaron.
That we call it the two seam crew down there because they mine down there two seam. But back-to-back weeks, you had was it Austin?
Yep.
Stocks, and then Aaron Chalinas.
Yeah, and those guys listen to the show. That's
Yeah,
why they know
awesome.
so much. You know, even if it's just going, hey, Brandon picked those guys. I'm picking the other one.
Are they? Well, I was going to say more a Gage. If they
Yeah.
pick opposite of Gage,
Yeah.
they're doing all
Well,
right.
I was gonna say that, but I tied with Gage this week. So, so yeah, good job, Aaron. Just get with us, and we'll get you get you your money back. I know, or get your money. Sorry, not back, but yeah, we'll get you your $25 out to you. I know, uh, what's his name last week?
Austin.
Austin got with us,
Oh,
and
nice.
so yeah, he got with us, and we're gonna
Heck yeah.
be delivering some cash to his place. So yeah, just get with us. We'll get you your money. Last week, Jared just stomped our asses in the picks. You did really good, man. You went 11-4.
I told you, man. There's a correlation with me being on the show and me not being on the show. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it a habit. I don't care if you do it at 11 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. I'm not gonna go another 6 and 8.
Well, I'm just not gonna say anything. I'll just start recording on my own, and then
Jared
maybe
couldn't
I'll.
make it. I don't know. I don't know where Jared's at, but he went
Yeah.
6 and 8 this week.
Yeah, yeah,
Weird.
he was terrible though. No, yeah, you went 11-4. You're now like you've cemented the lead at 62, 31 and 1. So, or 61, sorry, 61, 31 and 1.
All right.
I am in second at 56, 36 and 1. So you got me by 5 games. Gage fell back further. Had some crazy picks again. He's 51, 41 and 1. So me and Gage both went 8 and 7, but he had a chance to kind of come
He
up
did,
on me a
yeah.
little bit if he would have gone with a few different picks there. So, all right, but yeah, so you're leading out. You got a 5-game lead against me. So let's see what we can do to change that this week.
All right, going into this week on Thursday night, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at Cincinnati Bengals. Let me get into my picks real quick. This week I have, I really like, we just got done talking about Aaron Rodgers. I really like how the Steelers are playing. I like how their defense is playing. I did mention how I liked where their bye week came. So I got the Steelers on a short week. The Bengals are still kind of trying to probably figure things out with Joe Flacco, and being on a short week, I don't know how well they're going to figure it out. But I got the Steelers winning 27-17.
Okay, yeah, I just had to close the door because just in case we get one of them big dogs come rolling in here and tearing stuff up again. All right, so you like the Steelers?
Yeah.
You said? Okay.
27-17.
Yeah. They got Pittsburgh by 4.5 on this one. I want to pick the Bengals. I really do, because I really still kind of see like they're going to sneak out a few wins, and this could be one of those games, but I can't do it here. The Steelers are just playing too well, like you said. I think it's the Steelers, and I got it 27-20.
All right, our next game is another London game. So if you're a fan of the LA Rams or the Jacksonville Jaguars, you got to wake up at 7:30 to watch this. But I have the Rams. I think I like them. I'm still not totally convinced on the Jaguars, even though I still had them as my preseason 7th seed going to the playoffs. But I like how the Rams are playing defense. Their offense is still kind of. I know Puka Nakua got hurt, so I don't know. I'm not sure what his status is, but I got the Rams going down to London and winning 24-21 in a close game.
Okay, they have LA by 2.5. I agree with you 100% on the Jaguars. I'm just not sure what we're going to get. I think this last week where they lost to the Seahawks kind of shows that like good teams can still kind of go in there and get them. So I like the Rams as well. If it was a true home game for the Jaguars, I might be a little more inclined to pick them. But yeah, I like the Rams 28-20. And I think Puka, last I seen, was questionable. Of course, we'll find out later. But I still like their offense even without him, though.
I think he played in the second half. I just don't think he got too many targets. I don't know what his snap share was in the second half, but
yeah,
I didn't take him out. Okay, starting with our morning games, our first morning game, I got the Saints at the Chicago Bears. I think this one was tough. This one was kind of close. I like how the Bears are playing. I mentioned how I really liked how their bye week came when they were kind of starting to figure things out on offense. And then, last night I really liked how Caleb Williams was throwing the football. I really liked how DeAndre Swift was running the ball. I think he went over 100 yards rushing. And then he had that one big long catch for a touchdown. So I got the Bears winning a close one, 21-20.
okay, yeah, I like that pick with the Bears winning. This one was a tough one because actually, I mean, the Saints are, playing better than what people thought. I think they just barely lost that game game last week. Hold on one sec. I'm gonna let her out. Okay, so somehow, some way, our dogs always have to be involved, even if it's just pestering us. All right. Yeah, I think that the Saints are actually playing better than what their
Hmm.
record shows too. But so it was kind of tough because you don't know what you're going to get the Bears. But they have Bears by 5.5, and I think I have them winning by more than that. But I could see it being even closer than this. But it's Bears 35-24.
It's like a little tidbit in the coaching, but uh, this is maybe a revenge game for Dennis Allen since he's the defensive coordinator for Chicago. Maybe, I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
oh yeah, yeah.
All right, my next game we got the Miami Dolphins going to Cleveland to play the Browns. So you got both 1-5 team going against a 1-5 team. You have Junkins on one of your fantasy teams. I have Junkins on one of my fantasy teams too.
Yeah,
So this is a get right bad game for him. I think he's going to go off.
yeah,
I just like how the Browns kind of run the ball, and Gabriel doesn't play bad. I don't think he turns the ball over. I'm not sure if he had any turnovers that last game, but
yeah. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
um, yeah, the Dolphins are just kind of reeling, and then how Tua's been kind of playing and going against this defense, I think he's going to get some opportunities to throw some interceptions or take some sack fumbles. So I got the Browns winning a low-scoring, close game, 17-13.
Okay, they got Cleveland by 2.5, and I'm okay with the point spread, even if they were like 1.5 for either team. Because
Hmm.
the Dolphins, you don't know what you're going to get. This was a tough pick for me. I like what you said, everything you said about Judkins. I do think the Browns are able to do more. We'll be able to do more with their offense against this Dolphins defense. So I like the Browns as well, 20-17, and kind of a low scoring game
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah, I think that looking at it, the over/under for that's only 40.5, which kind of seems kind of low for an NFL
Right.
tilt. So
Yep.
next game, I got the New England Patriots going to Tennessee to play the Titans. This one was kind of hard because I already knew, like telling you, I already knew the Titans had fired their head coach and bringing somebody else in. Sometimes that kind of rejuvenates a team.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if this is going to rejuvenate the Titans too much going against the Patriots. I like how the Patriots are playing, so I got them 28-20.
Yeah, they got New England as a 7.5 point favorite. I'm actually kind of surprised it's not bigger than that. I like the Patriots. I didn't know they fired a coach in Tennessee, but you're right. Sometimes that does get those players fired
Mhm.
up. But I don't know if they have enough weapons on offense to get fired up and do right. So I like the Patriots. Big win, 31-13.
All right. Next game, we got the Las Vegas Raiders going to Kansas City. We talked about it before. I like how the Chiefs are playing, and now they get Rashee Rice back. Kansas City Chiefs, I've kind of did a little research. They don't score 30 points too often lately in the last at least two seasons going back to 2023. I think they only scored over 33 times that season and then only 33 times going back to last year. But they've already done it twice this year. They did it last week against the Lions. I like them do it again against the Raiders. The Raiders are kind of reeling. I got the Chiefs winning 30-17.
Yeah. I like that. They got Kansas City by 12.5, and that doesn't surprise me. Raiders aren't really working on either side of the ball too well. So yeah, I like the Chiefs to come in here and be able to pretty much stomp the Chiefs to beat them at home 35-20. Pretty big spread there. So
All right, our next morning game, we got the Philadelphia Eagles going to the Minnesota Vikings. This one was tough. We kind of talked about it, I think, before the podcast started
mhm.
about how this one was going to be a tough game. This one was definitely tough for me. The big thing for me with the Eagles, and I don't know why, but um, Jalen Carter didn't play last game. I'm not sure why. Like, he's obviously dealing with some injury,
Hmm.
but I think if he plays, he makes a big difference, especially in the run game, and then kind of unlocks everybody else on that defensive line. But when he doesn't play, that defense just doesn't look right. And I'm not sure, I didn't look, but I think that little mini bye playing on Thursday night last week is going to kind of help the Eagles. I'm not sure what the Vikings' plan is at quarterback. I'm not sure if it's Wentz or JJ's finally
Or JJ,
healthy. I'm not
yeah.
sure, but I got the Eagles winning a close game, 24-23.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. They got Philly as the favorite by a point and a half. I'm actually okay with that spread. It didn't surprise me because the way the Eagles have been playing versus the Vikings are able to. They've got that magic, still a little bit of that magic left from last year where they can just squeak one out at the end when they need to. We
Mm-hmm.
even talked about how they pulled back on the Steelers who were playing great at that point. I actually had the Vikings down at first, and I scratched it out. And now I don't regret it because after you talk about Jalen Carter, because I told you there's probably some picks on here. Once
Hmm.
I might be able to be convinced to change them once we get talking about it. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles 20-13.
All right.
But it was tough
It
because
was, yeah.
that one I could see going to the Vikings because it could be a game where they just you know
Right.
play real well against tough opponents. So.
All right, our next morning slate game, we got the Carolina Panthers going to New York Jets. So we got the 0-6 Jets. I do think that Justin Fields, if he is playing quarterback, I'm not sure, but will throw for more than 45 yards, and the team total will be
Yeah.
more than -10. So it's kind of like a little bit get right game for them. I still do not think that they get their first victory this week. I like how the Panthers have been kind of grinding out games and winning these tough games. So I got the Panthers winning another close game, 28-24.
Okay, they got Carolina by a point and a half. I actually thought the spread would be a little bit bigger on that one because the Panthers have been kind of showing a little bit
Hmm.
more on defense, even though I don't think they're a top tier defense by any means, but they've been playing better and they were in that game with the Cowboys, throughout. They didn't just have to
Right.
come back at the end. So yeah, I actually thought they would have a bigger spread than that. But anyway, I like the Panthers as well going into New York to win that one 28-17.
All right. Our first afternoon game, I got the New York Giants going to Denver Broncos. I we talked about how the Broncos offense is, still leaving a whole bunch on it on the field. I really like their defense, but I still like how that the young players for the Giants are playing. Jackson Dart, Scadaboo, um, even with their, I thought I put him in a top 10 receiver. Malik Neighbors being done for the season, they've kind of rejuvenated and put some energy in that offense. But I think the Broncos defense is too good. I got them winning 23-16.
Okay, they got Denver by 6.5, and I was kind of surprised with the way the Broncos really haven't like just beat up anybody,
Hmm.
really like put up a lot of points. I was kind of surprised by that spread. Not that I think they still should be the favorite, but they're going to squeak out a win probably here, but I don't think it's going to be by a big amount. And the Giants have looked, they just beat the Eagles and they
Right.
look good doing it. So I was kind of surprised by that. But this Broncos defense is a lot better than what the Eagles have been playing, and definitely a lot better than what they played the other night. So I like the Broncos 24-20.
All right.
But I would, if I was betting, I'd take that Giant spread
Mm-hmm.
though, for sure.
All right, our next afternoon game, I got the Indianapolis Colts going to the Los Angeles Chargers. This one was another tough one for me because you think at some point the Colts, they either are who they are and they keep on winning, or they kind of get knocked back down to reality. This one, the kind of game changer. I'm still not sure about Joe Alt playing. If he's not playing, that I haven't heard anything. So this is why I kind of got the Colts winning this one, going to LA, 28-24.
Okay, they have LA by a point and a half,
Oh wow,
which kind of surprised me.
yeah.
I agree with everything you said there. I think if the Chargers are fully healthy and they have their full, even at least one of their running backs, either Najee Harris or Hampton,
Hmm.
coming into this one, I probably would have picked them. I do think they're going to grind it out and make it tough. But and if Joe Alt's in there, it'll even be tougher. But I like the Colts 27-24. So my
All
score
right,
is
heck
only
yeah,
one different than
yeah.
what you had. So
Our next afternoon game, we got the Washington Commanders going to Dallas Cowboys. This one was going to be another close game. This is just a divisional game. I think I'm not sure about Terry McLaurin's status. I'm not. Is he not on an IR? Is he? His is more like a week by week
yeah, I
type of
think
thing.
so.
I think he needs to come back to kind of unlock that offense. They still really don't have a running game. It kind of hurts losing or trading away Robinson and then having um,
Eckler go down.
Eckler go down. So they're kind of struggling on that boat. But, this is kind of if you need a get right on offense type of game, it's going to be against the Cowboys in the NFC. So I got the Commanders winning 27-24.
Okay. Commanders 27-24. This was another tough one, like you said. Washington, they got them as a 1.5 point favorite. And yeah, they do have just McLaurin's questionable. So,
Hmm.
he's got all week to get right and get better. I don't know, man. I think that as of yesterday, before that game last night, I probably would have picked the Commanders going
Hmm.
into this one. They leave themselves vulnerable, it seems like, especially at the end of the game. I'm not 100% on their defense either, but yeah, I like the Cowboys here. This was a tough pick, but I do like the Cowboys in a high scoring game, 41-35.
All right, our next afternoon game, we got the Green Bay Packers going down to Arizona to play the Cardinals. I just like how the Packers are kind of playing. I've kind of liked them all year, even though they've had a couple games in there where they, kind of left your head scratching your head a little bit.
Yeah.
But I liked how they played last week. It kind of seems like whenever they got a kind of a comfortable lead in the fourth quarter, they kind of let another team kind of come back. I think they did that against was it Cincinnati last week.
Hmm.
But this, I don't know. I just like how their offense plays. I think they got a lot of weapons. I like Jordan Love, even though I know Gage doesn't like
Yeah.
him. I think he's playing well. I got the Packers winning 30-21.
Okay. They got Green Bay as a 6.5 point favorite. I like what you said. It seems like the Cardinals can't get out of their own way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, even when they had the win against the Titans, they just let that one go. And then who'd they play this last week?
They played Colts.
Colts, and got
Yep.
beaten. That beat at the end by the
Mm-hmm.
Colts. Yep. So they can't get out of their own way. And we don't know if Kyler Murray's starting or not. But either way, I don't think it matters because I don't think that he's that much better than
Mm-hmm.
Brissett. So it's funny on this one. I have it 30-20 Packers.
All
So
right.
what is that? Just another one
Just
point
one, yeah,
difference.
because I had 21 Cardinals.
Yep.
All right, our Sunday night game, we have the Atlanta Falcons coming down to Santa Clara to play the 49ers. We talked about it, quite a bit with, losing Fred Warner on that defense and then just what the Falcons were able to do against the Bills. And then you got the matchup of the Falcons having the best passing defense and the 49ers having the best passing offense. So something's got to give, but
Right.
I still don't like how the 49ers cannot run the football. I like how the Falcons can kind of spread it out, pretty evenly with, Penix throwing the ball to his weapons and then having Bijan kind of run over people with Algier too. So I
Yep.
think it's going to be tough sledding for the 49ers until they can kind of figure out what they get fully healthy on offense with Pearsall and Kittle and Ayuk and where they can kind of, get their full arsenal, which I don't think there's going to kind of be out there yet because I think probably Mac Jones will probably start again if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Haven't heard too
Kind of
much about
seems like
Brock
it.
Purdy, but
Yep.
it might be tough sledding on a Sunday night on national TV for the 49ers, but I have it kind of close. I got the Falcons winning 30-24.
Okay. They got San Fran as a favorite by 2.5,
And
actually.
that surprises me.
Yeah, it does me too. I know it seems like they might just be going record wise there and maybe home teaming them. I'm not. Last week I home teamed them against the Bucks. I would really like to see the Niners be able to pull this out, but I agree with you. Unless something happens between now
Hmm.
and Sunday night for them to get healthy, or they make a trade on defense. Right now, I don't like this matchup, especially on their offense versus their defense because they can't run the ball like you said,
Hmm.
and then um, passing. I didn't even realize the Falcons were the number one, but I just don't think the way they got after Jared or Josh Allen.
Right.
If they do that against Mac, it's over because
Yeah.
he cannot move at all.
No.
So I have it 31-23, so not much of a different score there, Falcons. And
Hmm.
I had Niners, I scratched them out even because I was like, dude, I want to pick them. But I really hope that we're wrong. Last time
Yeah.
I picked against them, they won
Right.
against the Rams. So,
Every time we pick against the Niners, we hope they
right.
prove us wrong and we'll eat that one.
Yeah, but yeah, the Falcons looked really good,
They
though.
did. All right, going into our first Monday night game. Again, we have two Monday night games. So this is the first one. So your total points will not count for this one. It'll be the next one we talk about. But 5 o'clock kickoff on Monday night, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going down to, or I guess, up to Detroit to play the Lions. This one was going to be a little bit tough for me because I kind of like how both teams are kind of playing. I know the Lions just went down to Kansas City and lost, but I still like their roster. Their defense kind of leaves me a little bit worried about how they can play it. But both teams' defense kind of worried me right now at this point of the
Mhm.
season with the Buccaneers and the Lions. But I
Yep.
think this is kind of a get back game at home with the Lions. I think they're a little bit more comfortable playing on their home turf rather than outdoors. So I got the Lions winning a close game, 30-27.
Okay. Yeah, they got Detroit as a 5.5 point favorite. I thought that was a little generous, even though I have
That is kind of surprising. Yeah.
yeah, my score doesn't reflect that I thought that, but it was just I don't think it's going to come down to a field goal probably this time. You have it a little closer than I do, but I actually had the Bucks at one point and scratched it out. Man, this was tough because the
Yeah.
Bucks went in there last year and beat them
Yeah.
and they gave the Lions a loss when the Lions were just smoking teams at that point,
Mm-hmm.
and they went into Detroit and beat them last year. So I was like, man, it could be the Bucks, but I do agree with you. I think the Lions are going to get back right. And this defense of the Bucks isn't that great. So I think the Lions are going to outscore them in a duel, and it's going to be 38-31 Lions.
All right. Our last game of the week, and it's the second Monday Night Football game, so it's an 8 o'clock kickoff. We got the Houston Texans going up to play the Seattle Seahawks. Man, this might be if anything. I know I got a little bit higher, but this might be like a 3-0 game. With I like both of these defense. The Texans still are ranked the number one overall defense. I know they had a bye, so they got one less game, but they were before they had the bye last week. They were still the number one ranked team with
Yep.
everybody playing the same. I like how Seahawks are playing. I think last week going down to Jacksonville and kind of dominating that game and not allowing the Jags to kind of get anything going on offense. I think they had 9 total points.
Yeah.
So I like this to be a defensive battle. The edge I gave to the Texans just because they're coming off a bye week. I think they kind of needed that for their offense, but they did put up like 40-some points against the Baltimore Ravens before their bye week. So
Yeah.
I think they're just going to squeak this one out. I got the Texans winning 17-16.
Okay. They have Seattle as a 3.5-point favorite. I think that's 12th man stuff going on there. Texans have looked better. I guess playing the Ravens right now is exactly what you need to
Yep.
get your offense rolling. They do look better. But the Seahawks, though, I really feel like at home getting it done. I agree with you. This was another tough pick. I like the Seahawks. I could see it going either way. I do like the Seahawks. I think there's going to be kind of a slew of scoring at the end. I think it's going to be defensive battle up until the fourth quarter. Then we're going to go 27-20 Seahawks.
All right.
And the Seahawks did give up points to the Bucks,
Mhm.
but everybody's given up
Right.
points to the Buccaneers this year. So, okay, so that is our games. Remember, when you are doing your picks, there's 2 Monday night games again. Make sure that it's the Texans Seahawks games that you're going to use, and I'll post that pick 'em sheet here after we're done recording. And then that hopefully another good week, and I'll be up on the mountain for the Thursday night game, but I'll be back for the slew of games on the weekend. So
Yeah, so just to kind of remind people, the over under for the Buccaneers Lion game, which is the first Monday night game that you don't want to bet on, is 52.5, and the over under for the Texans Seahawks game is 41.5. So
big
make sure you
difference.
get the right one in because it could
Yep.
determine on how many points you
Yep.
put on these games.
Texans Seahawks is the one you are going to put your score on. So, all right. Well, thanks for listening and have a good week.